This is the all-new Community Connection. I'm your host, Jade Harr, keeping you connected to our community. This is an exciting time for St. Louis and for our children. Not that it's brand new, but new to my awareness, the first public African-centered school in St. Louis. I am joined today by Sean Nichols, who is the principal, and by George Buckner, the music teacher there at Pamoja. Good day to you both. Now, what was that beautiful greeting I got from you, Principal Nichols?
That was a greeting that we use daily in Kiswahili, and that's the East African language, and it meant, how's everything going this afternoon? I hope everything's good.
Yes, and how do I say it?
Abari.
Abari.
Gani.
Abari Gani.
Yeah, you can say Abari Gani or Abari Za Chana.
Abari Za Chana.
There you go.
And the proper response would be
Nzuri.
Nzuri, which I absolutely love. Yes, this is an example of the focus and direction and center of Pamoja. Tell me why, how, and what makes up this tremendous school. We'll start with you, and then we'll go into how that expands into the music program.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Well, so if I understand you correctly, you want to know pretty much what are we all about?
Yes, that's a good, that'll sum it up.
Yes, ma'am. So what we do is very simple. It's not complex. We basically want to infuse something in our children and our families that we're trying to regain and heal from something that was taken away from our people in this country, as well as our people all around the world. But what was taken from us is something that was really, really, really important. And that something was having a cultural perspective of who you are, that cultural identity, that cultural purpose, and that cultural direction. So although we may have opportunities to gain degrees, skills, make some money, freedom to do some things, that missing component that keeps all of those things together in perspective, those things need a glue to keep them together. And that glue is having a cultural connection to your people, to your identity, your purpose and direction, which really helps you connect to your language, your ancestors, having a cultural framework of how your people see the world. Infusing that with academics, infusing that with having a business mind, having all of those different things that can move the people forward, that is the missing piece that we believe that our children need to be successful in changing this world in terms of, if we want to see change in our community, change in what we're trying to do, that means we have to change how we do things. Mm-hmm. And if you don't change that, then you're going to get the same thing that we've always been getting. Sure. And if we do this from this perspective, you're going to get a different kind of child, a different kind of family, a different kind of community, a different kind of city, a different kind of a state. And then we'll be able to move our communities forward and help heal our people from that desire to learn about your history and culture. So it's not just Black history. It is lots of components involved in terms of just being able to move our community forward.
Certainly.
That's just a gist.
That is wonderful. Just now, you opened in the fall of 2011 with several other cities with a focus on African-centered education. Tell me some of the differences you've seen in the children that have come through the program.
Oh, man. It's so hard to point out one thing, but we definitely see the approach. We see the character. We see children that want to not only help each other more, but children that have the desire to expand their thinking around everything they do in terms of how you walk, how you talk, what you eat, how you interact with other human beings. So I've seen children grow.
Give me some examples. Yes, give me some examples of what that looks like.
For example, let's say how I grew up. We dress in traditional Western clothes, but in many of our households here in the West, many of us do not have cultural outfits that come from our homeland, outfits that reinforce our cultural identity. We don't have those, and we don't have many institutions that embrace that cultural perspective.
Mm-hmm.
So being able to wear your clothes, you may not say what it is, but when you wear it, people know what it is. So
Mm-hmm.
if you know it or not, if you wear it, people would assume that, oh, that person is connected to their culture. So we want children to understand that we had a history and a culture before coming to the United States, before going to Jamaica, before going to Trinidad, before going to Brazil, before going to Canada, before going to all of the different places around the world through the great tragic slavery. We had a history and a culture before that process.
Yeah. Now, we come from a very rich, expansive, divine culture. How do you bring that into focus in the school when and we've been completely severed, in my opinion, practically severed, I should say. I won't say completely because the school wouldn't exist if we were completely severed. But we have been pretty severed from our heritage and culture and long-range history.
Yeah.
How do you bring that back? Where do you draw it from? I mean, when it's been pretty much suffocated from us.
Well, there is and I think this is really, Marlon Buckner, who's our teacher here, I want him to give you an example of that because he has really, really turned this program into not only a great band program, a choir program, but he actually has infused some creative African concepts in this.
I would like that as well. Now, you didn't say George.
Yeah, I didn't say George because many of us have African as well as Western names that were given to us by our families, which is what I love and embrace. But we also want to, in African traditions, we don't have just one name.
Mm-hmm.
So that one name doesn't just define you. You may have multiple names. And we say Mwalimu because Mwalimu means teacher, and Swahili means educator. So we say Mwalimu to instill in your mind and your spirit that Mwalimu is held in high regard in East Africa as someone that's really committed to not only children, but committed to educating the people, educating children, being that person that's charged as a service to your people, as a servant. And so we want to use Mwalimu as a foundation to understand that if you're going to go into this, that there has to be a calling of service. And if you're not doing this as a servant, if you're not doing this to serve those that we need to serve, then you're in the wrong business. So we want to have an African approach in terms of educating our children. You're not just a teacher. You are a guide. You are a mentor. You're all of those things that our children need you to be to help move them forward.
That's beautiful. Well, then, Marlemu Buckner, tell me about how you do that in this program.
It's a gumbo pot approach. What I try to do is I try to take as much of the cultural influences across the diaspora and put them into one big pot or one big bowl and to create our style here at Pamoja. I do it that way because I think it's important that we teach our children about African people everywhere in the world currently, and also African influence of the ancient world. So, for example, some of the things that we do is we go from, let me just give you the range, we go from some original songs by African composers in America. We do as a matter of fact, right before this call, we were rehearsing Happy by Pharrell Williams. But then what I did was I took the language on the chorus, and I also do the chorus in Kiswahili. And then we also do the bridge in Kiswahili. So it's kind of like the best of both of those worlds, really showing the influence. And at first, it was kind of weird, at least for the students. Before you know it, they really got into it. And the same is with all of the music that we do, whether it's Kiswahili that we're singing in, or whether it's the East African language of Ugandan from the country of Uganda, or whether we're singing in English, or whether it's spiritual. All of the music is embraced. I think that's because all of the songs that we choose they all have some type of message of love with it, which is good. the main thing that I like to teach. Like Rala Nichols was saying, the school is pretty much run off of a strong cultural background and African tradition. And at the center of that is love. So I think by always teaching love, the students respond tremendously. At first, the students were trying to get used to the language. Well, not necessarily the language, but the way that the syllables fit within the song and on Because I'm Happy. So once they got past that part, because, in other words, it's Because I'm Happy. Instead of saying that, you say Nico na Furaha. So, naturally, when you deal with music, the syllables is really what makes the song. If you take a song, you can say Because I'm Happy, or you can go Because I'm Happy, and that's just a different type of thing. So if you take those syllables and replace them or change them just a little bit, it can be a little bit weird. Mm-hmm. So once we got past that, then it became a beautiful experience. As a matter of fact, we performed at the Big Brothers, Big Sisters big event, which is held annually in April, I believe it is. And that song we actually didn't do. We learned that song. But it was such a high time, and the energy was so grand, and they had done such a wonderful time that once the students got back to the table, they were singing that song, Because I'm Happy. And I'm looking at them like, I thought you guys didn't like that song. But, that just speaks to how, the energy transfers from one thing to another. And, like I said, when you have that spirit of love, as that energy continues to grow, it just gets bigger, and the spirit transfers from one thing to another, be it a song, be it a classroom, be it learning the language of Kiswahili. And it all is just a reflection of the spirit of African-centered education.
Absolutely. And what a beautiful way to paint the picture for us of how it manifests. Now, you said you were there with the children of your choir.
I was, but I sent most of them to lunch. I still have a couple of girls they've stuck around.
Okay. Would you mind putting one or the other or both on the phone for me?
Sure, absolutely.
Hello?
Hello, young lady. How are you?
I'm fine.
This is Miss Jade. I know this has caught you off guard, but I wanted to ask, how are you feeling as a student about being a student at Pamoja?
I feel really good being a student at Pamoja. I feel a part, like I'm part of my culture. Even though people had brainwashed us and changed us, I still feel like I'm a part, and I feel like I'm experiencing it back over again because it already happened, but I feel like it's still happening. Things that happened in the past with our ancestors, and I'm really thankful to be a part of Pamoja. I've been at Pamoja for 3 years now, and I feel like it's home because at other schools I've been to, because I've been to a lot of schools, it wasn't nothing like this. It was different, and I like the different in the school, especially that we get to learn about our ancestors and things, that we haven't learned in other schools, and we get an opportunity to learn it. I feel really thankful about it.
What is that like to have that peace in your life? How will that affect the way you go forward? Like knowing your history and learning about your ancestors, how that makes a difference for you?
It makes a difference for me because, knowing my ancestors and knowing how they look at things and how they did things, it'll help me because I know it's a part of me because my ancestors are like wise people, and they had quotes and stuff that really helped their people back then. And them quotes and stuff that they did, it really motivates me to do what they're doing, and I like it a lot.
That's awesome. Does that make you excited about going to school more so than you did before?
Yes, because back then when I was going to Pamoja, I didn't like history at all. But now I'm in Pamoja, and we go to history. I got all these questions on my notes and stuff. And then the teacher, he asks questions and stuff, and we have like a discussion. And I would love to raise my hand because usually I used to not like raising my hand because it was boring. But it's interesting, like what we talk about, and it makes us feel like, that we are part of our culture,
Super
and
cool.
I really like it.
That's beautiful. What would you say to invite or encourage or what grade are you in?
I'm in 8th.
Yeah, other 8th graders or other children about why they should or might consider coming to Pamoja?
I would tell other kids to come to Pamoja because I would tell them you're getting your history back because people took our history and changed it. And it's like, would you rather live in your history than someone else's? So I would tell them, come to Pamoja. You'll feel like home. You may have ups and downs, but everything's going to be all right because our principal and our teachers, when something goes down, we all have a talk about it. And we get consequences too, but I like that part because it helps us to do better, to know if we can't do it again. We can't do something else that's bad. We got to do good. And I would tell other kids that I'm happy being at Pamoja. You should try it out. Maybe you'll be happy in your life too because they really do care.
I love that. Thank you so much for sharing. What is your name, young lady?
I'm Diamond.
Diamond, my fellow jewel. I love it. Thank you for taking some time to share today.
You're welcome.
Wow. Marlene Buckner.
Yeah, I think we should have just started and ended with her because that was...
that sums it up, doesn't it?
Yeah, pretty much.
Feels like home.
Yeah.
I remember when President Barack Obama took office and people were asking for responses from various celebrities and other folks. And one of the things that Whoopi Goldberg said was that she felt like she could unpack her bags. Now, I know all kinds of other things could be talked about with regard to politics and what have you, but specifically in this regard, that throughout her life, she never felt like this was home. And that's powerful to hear that coming from an 8th grader. You're doing a wonderful job with our children. I thank you for bringing this to our attention. Marlene Nichols.
Yes, ma'am.
If you would, please send out the invitation to our families, our community, to take a closer look, to connect with Pamoja.
Yes, ma'am. Public, community, world, international. If you would like to learn more about who we are and what we do to transform the lives of our children as well as make them competitive with any other school on the planet, you can reach us at 314-533-0894, as well as review us on the St. Louis Public Schools website and look up B.K. Gilkey, Bertha Knox Gilkey Pamoja at Cole Elementary, a lot of rich heritage and culture. So you can find us via internet or give us a call here. We'd be glad to give anyone a tour.
Absolutely beautiful. Marlene Buckner, would you like to also send out the love as well to our community?
Yes. Family. What I want to do more than anything is just encourage you to be blessed. Live every day happy. And know that the tradition of African people, be it the tradition of African people in America, in this country, or anywhere across the diaspora, is rich. It is very, very, very old. We are masters of everything. We are not what we are being portrayed currently. We are masters of everything. We are the inventors of pretty much everything that exists, whether we have gotten credit for it or not. And we are such a beautiful people. I just want to encourage us all to live that way and to always teach our children that we are great because we are, and just say it every day. In such a fast-paced world, I think one of the things that we miss is the power of repetition. And when we focus on that power of repetition, let's focus on things that are positive. Let's know that energy is real. And continually repeat to our children that we are beautiful and that we are strong and that we can do whatever it is that we want to do, whatever it is that we need to do, just as our ancestors have done before us. So be encouraged. And if anyone listening to this would like to donate to the program, if you're feeling the spirit and the love, if you have just been looking for a program to support, the music program here is growing. The students are completely amazing. We had about 30 students last year. This year we have about 45 to 50. We have expanded our ensemble from middle school down to 5th grade. And we're looking to do some very powerful things this year. I want to actually take the students out to perform in some different states. But, as we all know, money is a very, very important part of that. So if you do feel compelled and you do want to help, we take all donations, as grand and as small. It doesn't matter. As long as you're donating with love, we'd appreciate it. And you can donate to the school by following the information that Wallamu Nichols just gave not long ago. So be blessed, be encouraged.
Well, I see why, and I am certainly impressed by what I've heard here today. Thank you both for joining me today. George Buckner, the music director, and Sean Nichols, the principal at Pamoja African-Centered Education, first public African-Centered education in St. Louis, public school in St. Louis. Thank you so much for what you're doing and for sharing it with our community today. All right, that's it for this week. If you have questions or comments or have something you'd like to include in the community calendar, you can leave a message on our message box at 314-333-8369, 314-333-8369. And for more information about our show or any of our guests, you can visit us online and listen to the podcasts at Spreaker.com. That's Spreaker.com. And search Community Connection with Jade Harr. You all be blessed, do blessed, and take care.